This is not a highlight video. Novak Djokovic threw Marin Cilic in the Cincinnati semifinals 6-4, 3-6, 6-3. He moves on to his sixth Cincy final where he'll face the winner of Roger Federer and David Goffin. To me, a very impressive victory by Novak, and you know me, I don't just slap that word impressive on every single win. I thought that a lot of things were lining up against Novak. As you could have seen in my prediction video, my semifinal prediction video, it was hot, steamy weather in Cincinnati. It was a day match. Cincinnati's a really fast court. Cilic was well rested. Djokovic wasn't. And then on top of that, simply the form. Djokovic was in worse form than Cilic as well. So all of that kind of stacking up against Djokovic, but Novak was able to overcome it with the best performance he's had all week, which is kind of comes as no surprise because all the top players tend to do this sometimes from time to time, with the exception of Nadal, who seems to have been consistent throughout this entire season. Djokovic, though, really putting in a good effort here, his best effort of the week. In the first set, it was a game at 1-2 where Cilic made 4 unforced errors, giving away the break. And then for the rest of the set, Djokovic held, but it seemed like every Djokovic service game was actually on Cilic's racket. It seemed like that for much of the second set too, but in the second set, Djokovic had a very loose game. Djokovic had a game where he made at least 3 errors, gave Cilic a break. Cilic went up a double break. At that point, he really loosened up, went up 5-1. But then once Cilic was up 5-1, Djokovic loosened up a little bit and started playing more offensive, and by the end of the second set, Djokovic was playing much better tennis than Cilic. The best way to combat Marin Cilic's massive forehand when it's on a roll is take the offense yourself, make Cilic move, make Cilic play some defense, and that's what Novak hasn't done all week. All week, he's just kind of been hanging in there, not playing enough offensive tennis. His coaches have said the same thing, according to the ESPN broadcast crew, where they're kind of puzzled at Novak sitting back too much and relying too much on his return and defense. Sometimes he'll draw enough errors out of a Marin Cilic, but sometimes he won't. But once again, the key is he started getting more aggressive at the end of that second set. And then Cilic served really well at the beginning of the third, as did Novak, but you could feel the conditions starting to slow and Marin Cilic starting to do way less damage with his forehand. His backhand always gets tight in big moments, and that happened, I believe, again on a few big points, especially moving to his left. Novak gets the break at 3-4, serves it out to win it 6-3. The one thing with Cilic, if I'm nitpicking on Cilic, he didn't do a very good job returning Djokovic's second serve. Novak's first serve looks really big. I think it's going to continue to get bigger. That's in good shape for New York. I believe his service motion looks very fluent. I'm not sure why there's not more juice on the second serve. Cilic just didn't take advantage of that at all. And then one thing that Novak was doing really well was hitting it behind Cilic immediately after Cilic's return. So he'd serve it out wide, and then instead of going to the open court, he'd hit it behind Cilic. And he was doing a really good job of making a big man, Cilic 6'6", change direction instead of running into the open court, because Cilic is a pretty good mover if you let him, I guess, keep his momentum moving in the same direction. So that was really good by Novak. He got more offensive. Really, and all in all, the balance, the timing was the best it's been all week. So Cilic had some slight openings. I think that he had to win this in 2. The way the courts were playing really fast right off the bat, I think that if Cilic played a cleaner service game at 1-2, and if he was able to take advantage of some of the opportunities he had in the first set, because it really was on his racket. For example, he had a break point opportunity, 15-30, easy high forehand volley, which he botched. and he lost that game. And then 30 all points, deuce points, all in the first set. Was not able to really get over the hump on those points. I think he had to win that first set. In the third set, Novak, clearly the better player, and I thought that you could really feel that Novak was going to get a break and win the third set, playing more offensive and also helped by the conditions slowing down. You got to understand, picking Cilic there on my part. If these two play in the U.S. Open, I don't really think Cilic has any chance. In Cincinnati, at 1 o'clock, at a 2 o'clock start, it really ended up being close to 2:30. Hot, fast Cincinnati, where Cilic is in better form than Novak. That's where I thought that Cilic definitely could have won this match. But really impressive performance by Novak. Great returning, great defense. You're going to draw errors out of Cilic as usual. That's kind of what Novak's going to do. Even more important than that is taking the offense. So I think I've said enough here. I'll probably check in, unless the Goffin-Federer match is really spectacular. You probably won't hear from me until tomorrow morning. That will be Sunday morning, prior to the final. I'm expecting Federer versus Djokovic, which would be excellent. That would be very exciting. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.